I don't plan to do these videos so often, especially with something like the MCU, but with San Diego Comic-Con coming to an end and, MCU's very current run of movies such as the Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, and Spider-Man, it's been a pretty good run. And as my thumbnail and title say, I don't think the MCU is looking that bad, especially after this Comic-Con. It's actually looking very, very promising. And as I mentioned before, it's Spider-Man, which should have a review in two-ish days, I believe. I'm not sure when this is getting uploaded, but I enjoyed the movie, to be honest. And de- there was some sad news after seeing the movie, or actually before I saw the movie, uh, that Destin Daniel Cretton will no longer be doing Wonder Man. And it's funny that this video I'm recording is getting posted and made hours after, maybe a day after that news came out. And at first I was pretty worried, but if that means Destin Daniel Cretton's making more Spider-Man movies and Shang-Chi too, I can't say I'm too mad. I do think this sucks for Wonder Man himself, and I'll get into later my problems with whatever Marvel's doing with some of their characters and a very specific genre of their characters as well, or a very specific group rather, not a genre. It's a damn shame that Wonder Man has joined this long, long list of characters that they just keep disrespecting. And it seems to be the same exact type of characters, but that will be mentioned later on. I think this current run of Marvel movies has been very, very fantastic, and even the shows haven't been too bad either. When you include X-Men 97, Daredevil season 2 and 1, I guess. I think that was in the mix. And what else came out recently? Oh, and a Wonder Man, but I thought I already mentioned it, so I just forgot about it completely. I think the MCU's been on a really great, great run. And of course, we're getting Doomsday later this year, which is going to be one of, if not the biggest movie of all time, in terms of box office and how many people are going to go watch it. I'm not too confident it'll make more money than Endgame, but with how these Spider-Man pre-sales are going, I think anything can happen. I think the Spider-Man movie might have been enough to push the hype for Doomsday. Of course, we've had so much weirdness leading up to this Doomsday release. RDJ apparently is retiring, and this will be his last two movies ever, Doomsday and Secret Wars, and just the weird build up to the Doomsday movie itself with how Kevin Feige's been treating it and talking about it. And I feel like he's been pretty good in in the past with the MCU and talking about it and fixing these little holes and smudges that are put in, the universe in the different phases, but he's doing all these weird things during these press conferences where he's talking about, Thanos was never built up, so why did we have to build up Doom? You did build up Thanos. You had the stones in each movie. You had good Guardians of the Galaxy introduce him and everything like that. And if does he not remember what he was doing with Kang? Does no one remember the Kang press conference thing they were doing where everyone's chanting his name and acting like he's the big bad new leader of the MCU and he's completely taking over? I guess Kevin Feige's forgot. And it's so strange because he says this and then 2 days later he goes on and does an interview with somebody and he's saying the MCU is always leading to doom. It was always going to have Doomsday. It's just so strange. Like, he just has to admit that some of the stuff along the way just didn't, go his way or the MCU's way. Of course, we had a very, very big actor do some stuff and lose his role as Kang. And obviously, I think Doom was going to be a big part in Secret Wars because he should have been, but there was going to be nothing between Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, I believe, just like how there isn't going to be anything between Doomsday and Secret Wars, which I do find very strange because for Infinity War we did have the Captain Marvel release in between it and maybe Far From Home. No, Far From Home was right after Endgame. I'm forgetting completely. And it's just so strange we're not going to get a single movie or I think even a TV show between Doomsday and Secret Wars, but maybe it's for the best. Maybe it's a good way to just brush everything away. Secret Wars would be the grand finale of the MCU into building what we're eventually getting. And I think this was the greatest part about San Diego Comic Con, or at least a Hall H extravaganza that it was. And of course, I think the first reveal, I'm trying to go in order here just off the top of my head, I believe was the Ghost Rider Ryan Gosling Sean Levy movie. And everyone had the same exact thought the second it was announced. Ryan Gosling getting a Ghost Rider movie. We've been waiting for this for what, a decade and a half now. He's been waiting for this for a decade and a half now. It's been one of his dream roles, I guess, at least in superhero media. And depending how this Star Wars Squadron movie does, which also stars Ryan Gosling and directed by Sean Levy, I think that'll turn a lot of people's opinions on whatever Ghost Rider will be. Because obviously, Sean Levy doesn't have the best record, especially this decade alone. I think prior to 2021 or 2022, he only he directed no movies between 2014 and the 2020s, which is insane. Maybe he was on TV shows, directing TV shows. I don't watch TV, so I don't watch a lot of TV, so don't really mix me up with that. But he did Free Guy, which is pretty mid or shit to a lot of people. He did The Atom Project, which is pretty mid or shit to a lot of people, and he did Deadpool and Wolverine, which if you're a huge Marvel guy, it's pretty cool to you, and it does have its moments in its movies. But as time goes on, this movie has been decreasing in value to me at least, and a lot of people. That movie's just absolute dog shit. So hopefully Sean Levy can pick up his brand again with the Star Wars Squadron movie, and then heading into Ghost Rider, it'll be something magnificent. Because let's all be honest, the previous two Ghost Rider movies aren't the best. Ghost Rider 1 is okay at most, and Ghost Rider 2 is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. So maybe it's some sort of something new for Ghost Rider, and we've been waiting way too long for him to be in the MCU. Just let alone any live action. I get he was in some of the CW shows or whatever, not CW, uh, but that universe, and it's just not the same. Like Ghost Rider used to be such a big character when I was little, and I think he still could be that. There's nothing wrong you can do with him. It's a guy on a motorcycle, the flaming head. I feel like anyone will watch that movie, MCU fan or not. It just sounds badass. So I'm glad we're getting this, and that's just another huge step in the direction the MCU is taking into the future. And right after that, we got the amazing announcement of Black Panther 3, which we all knew about, and we all knew Denzel Washington was already going to be in the movie. This was announced years ago, 2 years ago, I think even. But we just been waiting for more news on Black Panther 3. Will Shuri still be the lead? Will she not? Of course, the Black Panther 2 finale, or the final scene, or the post-credit scene was Baby T'Challa. What are they going to do with that? Well, turns out we have an answer, and I've been happy. This has been one of that was like the best segment for me, period, in the entire Hall H whatever. They had the Deadpool stuff, Ghost Rider, Black Panther announcement. David Johnson being casted as T'Challa 2, I think it was one of the best decisions they've ever made casting wise in the MCU. I think the MCU has had fantastic castings throughout the entirety of it, but I think David Johnson is going to be a perfect replacement for Chadwick Boseman. Rest in peace to him. But David Johnson is one of my favorite actors currently. I loved him in, what am I forgetting? Wasteman. I loved him in Rye Lane. And if you've seen my review on The Long Walk, you know I fucking loved him in The Long Walk, and I loved him in Alien Romulus, and it's probably the reason why Alien Romulus is maybe my number two favorite Aliens movie. He's just brilliant. He's one of my favorite actors right now. I just saw a Timothy Chalamet interview where he's talking about how much he loves him, and he's one of the few actors he's looking up to, or at least seeing him as one of his skilled peers, and I think that's really respectable. David Johnson is a phenomenal actor, and we needed someone to replace T'Challa. We can't sit here and say Shuri was the perfect replacement for him. I think she was fantastic. I actually don't mind Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I might even like it more than the first one. I'm not sure. I might have to rewatch it, but it's just never gonna feel right. Black Panther was such a huge hit when it released, and of course it is. It's the biggest black superhero to ever exist. And of course, we're getting Jon Stewart in the DCU, but we need more. And I'll go into that in a bit. But David Johnson coming in and taking T'Challa, and he's going to be in Secret Wars as T'Challa supposedly, and he's going to be in Black Panther 3, and he's going to be in whatever projects move forward, I hope. I think this is going to be amazing. It's going to be one of his best decisions I think he's ever made in his entire career, and I'm super happy for him. He is phenomenal. He is great. But maybe now I should mention it. What's up with the MCU just snubbing black superhero characters of anything? I mentioned Wonder Man earlier not getting a season 2 reboot or a new season, even though they just announced it 2 months ago that he is getting a new season. Now it's scrapped completely. I don't think we're ever going to see Wonder Man again, which is horrible. We're just never going to see it. They refused to cast T'Challa, period, and now they're having David Johnson come in and play his son instead of actually playing T'Challa, which is okay, but it's T'Challa. I don't know. It's just so strange to me. And then you have, why am I zoning out? Of course, the Kang thing was weird. They could have just hired another black actor. I know Kang isn't necessarily black, but why not just hire another black actor to play Kang? I always just thought that was so strange. I'm not sure. And then, of course, the biggest of the bunch is the Blade movie, which I don't even have to talk about because it's never happening. It's never going to exist. And there's going to be a recasting at some point because Mahershala Ali is going to be way too old by the time they want to make a fucking Blade movie. By the time they want to make a Blade movie, he's going to want to move on in his career and stop doing, Jurassic World or MCU or whatever these giant franchises are, I imagine at least, unless he does want that big bag, which is fair, which is completely fair, but it shouldn't be hard to make a Blade movie. Just like the Ghost Rider thing, Ghost Rider is a cool guy on a motorcycle with a flaming head. Blade is a cool guy with swords and guns, and he kills vampires. Is it really this hard? Do we not remember how amazing the first two Blade movies are? Or like his appearances in TV shows like Spider-Man or X-Men? Like, what happened? He's so cool, and we can't figure out a movie for him? I just think that's so strange. Very, very strange. I was in the middle of editing this video, and I thought it'd be way funnier instead of, just editing in a segment talking about this right here. I just like to say I told you so. Immediately after that segment, which I recorded yesterday, this gets announced while I'm editing. Mahershala Ali is called out Marvel for Blade never happening. You had me under contract. They had billions of dollars. If they wanted to do a movie, we would have done one. I feel ready to move on from the Blade questions. Those questions are for them. I think he's done. This is hysterical. What perfect timing for me to talk about the uprising of the MCU and, them snubbing black characters and black actors of their roles in movies, and especially big ones like Blade could have been. I mean, it is literally just a zombie killing movie. Could it really be that hard? I guess it is, because even he thinks it's done. So, just wanted to add that in. I thought that was fucking hilarious that this pops up in the middle of me editing this video. I think it's one of the weirdest things about the MCU, and it's been a constant for, what, a decade now? That they just can't figure this out? I don't know. I'm over it. And then, of course, we do have the final bit, which they didn't actually talk about too much in Hall H, but I did just want to include it because this is the future of the MCU video. The X-Men coming in with, this isn't spoilers at all, because I think we all knew already. And if you're watching this and you haven't watched Spider-Man, don't listen to this part. Sadie Sink as Jean Grey, and, X-Men, the movie directed by Jake Schreier, who's done Thunderbolts, which was absolutely fantastic. And I think everyone has full faith in him to make a good X-Men movie. We're just waiting for these castings to come out and out and out and out. And once again, while editing, on the portion where I'm talking about the X-Men casting, we get new news of the X-Men cast. Of course, I already mentioned Sadie Sink as Jean Grey, which we get in Spider-Man Brand New Day. We just got confirmed castings of Samara Weaving as Emma Frost, Kaylee Spaney as Rogue, and her Beef Season 2 partner, Charles Melton, as Beast. And it also seems like Adam Driver, Mr. Sinister, is actually going through. So a bit of what I'm going to be talking about next seems a bit unnecessary because they're just pumping out X-Men castings left and right. Apparently, we also might be getting Indy Navarrete as Mystique. She's been meeting with the X-Men cast and crew, and especially Jake Schreier and the casting group involving this movie. And this is all just seeming to come together right as I'm editing this video. And I think it's just way too funny. I could just remake this whole video, but this is getting comical at this point. I wouldn't be surprised if I end this video with even more news. Apparently, we're getting a few announcements soon. I'm forgetting the girl's name from Beef Season 2. Supposedly, she's going to be Rogue, if I remember. I don't really recall. And then there was another leak for whoever's playing Cyclops. I also don't remember that one. Uh, Whether that was real or not either, I'm not really too sure. But I think the future of the MCU is finally looking good after a good solid 3 to 4 years after COVID, where everything just looked grim, and everyone was saying, "Is this the end? Is this the end? Is this the end?" A TV show would come out. Is this the end? It's a fucking TV show. Why is this the end of a cinematic universe? I've never understood that. I think we can finally say there's a very bright future ahead. A lot of good named actors, a lot of huge, just character names coming in general. T'Challa returning, Ghost Rider returning, uh, the Avengers coming all together again, because for some reason we didn't have an Avengers movie for eight years, which is absurd. Just put a small one in there. Kang Dynasty could have been a small Avengers movie. I don't know. And then of course the X-Men finally coming in and doing something. And the Fantastic Four. I mean, it's just all great. And I'm usually try to be doom and gloom about the MCU because I wanted to do better, but it's been on such a good run, and I'm on such a high after all the stuff they've been releasing, that I feel like I had to make a video saying that the MCU isn't doomed.